Welcome to the Connected Leaders Academy virtual conference designed to reshape your vision of transformation. As we navigate the evolving business landscape, our speakers will unveil innovative strategies to manage and initiate change. Prepare to adapt, innovate, and lead, ensuring your role in this transformative era.
How purpose-driven are you? That's the question to ask yourself every day. Whether you're an entrepreneur, small business owner, business unit leader, it doesn't matter. The question that we need to ask ourselves every day is, how purpose-driven am I? And ask yourself right now, how purpose-driven am I? And here's why. The reason that I suggest this is it is our anchor. It is the one thing that if we're having a good day or a bad day, if we're having a bad day, it gets us going. If we're having a good day, it reinforces our purpose for us. The other thing that this question brings for us is it harmonizes our passion with our skill. And that is where we're successful. That intersection is where we're successful. And that's why I coined the term sales with soul. Yes, we need to make a number. Yes, we need to make revenue. There's no need to be soulless around it, or quite frankly, a jerk about it. So that's what we want to talk about today. And I hope you leave our time here today inspired and motivated with some tips and tricks for yourself. I'm Dionne Mejer. I've been in sales and tech for 25 years. I've owned Revenue by Design, my own consultancy, for about 10. And that is the question I've had to ask myself every day for the last, especially 5 years. So since COVID, for some of us, we might be thinking, man, it was a while ago. But I think personally, what I've seen and experienced in the world that I play in is that there is definitely a long tail to COVID, and our world has irrevocably changed and we're not going back. So the question of how purpose-driven am I can serve as our anchor. And what we want to talk about today is creating sustainable revenue for ourselves. And again, where we're at right now in the world, there's a lot of change, but there's always been a lot of change. It's nothing new. And so as we anchor on our purpose, we anchor on our skills, what we're good at, we triple down on fundamentals. That is the foundational level that we need to stay at, especially as an entrepreneur now. And so I want to give you a little bit of context as well with that. So hold that thought, right? Triple down on what we're good at, where we go. I want to give you a little bit of context. I am a lady ahead of my time. I'm tiny but mighty. I'm 5'2", about 115 pounds, right? My kids are both, well, my son is bigger than I am at this point. My daughter, not so much yet. She's hoping for a growth spurt. But I'm a lady ahead of my time, and let me give you a little bit of example around that. I was in college, it was about 20 years ago, and a bunch of us girls, we went and we were going to go to the nail salon. We were going to get manis and pedis. And at the time, I wanted white on my fingernails. And let me tell you, back then, that was not normal. That was not a thing. And the nail tech looked at me and said, "Oh no, white is only for toes." And I said, "I would like white on my fingernails, please." I was okay being different. I'm okay with that. And he grudgingly did it. And then in addition to that, I was about 26. The other example is the lady ahead of my time. I was about 26. I'm at the doctor's office and I'm like, "Where's my preventative maintenance checklist? My car has one. Why don't I have one?" And lo and behold, I don't know about you, but every time I go for a physical, now it's normal that we have a preventative maintenance checklist. So with that though, one of the things, again, as a lady ahead of my time, that I was really, really adamant about when I had my teams as a practitioner was I created the infrastructure for my team. And what does that mean? That means everything that we did had a process so that my team knew beyond a shadow of a doubt what to do, how to do it, when to do it based upon their own schedule, so that they could be focused on conversations with people. And if we're an entrepreneur, we need to have that. We need to have process so that we can be focused on our conversations with our prospects, our colleagues, our clients, and each other at the end of the day. The last thing that we want or need is to not know what to do with our leads, what not to do when somebody raises their hand, or if we have a team, what do we do as habit when our customers say yes? And so many times we don't lay that groundwork. We don't have those fundamentals in place, which leads to, this is how knowing what our purpose is and knowing our fundamentals tie together. When we are passionate about what we're doing, why we're doing it, and who we do it for, that foundational level, that process allows us to move with less friction. It allows us to move quickly. It gives us our brain power to focus on people and not process, which is really, really important because in our world right now, we are craving connection. The US Surgeon General and the World Health Organization have both declared loneliness an epidemic. That's a thing. So whether we're an entrepreneur, we have a team, small or large, it doesn't matter. Get our process right that helps us create that sustainable revenue, because we need to focus on people. And what we're going to talk about today are 3 key areas to focus on. There's so many more that we need to focus on, we need to be good at. But if we get these 3 right, 9 times out of 10, the others follow and flow. So I want to share with you the very first thing that we think about when we are creating a sustainable revenue process for ourselves is, do we have a purpose statement? And do we have a personal professional purpose statement? Not a mission statement. I got to tell you, I've been leading workshops now for, 10 plus years. And every time I work either in our entrepreneurial groups or I work with our clients in a consulting capacity, one of the very first exercises we do is walk me through your purpose statement. And your purpose statement flows from your company mission statement. But here's the kicker. Nobody ever knows what it is. So if you have a company mission statement, and maybe you're shifting a little in your seat right now, my question to you is, what is it? And probably you don't know what it is. Most organizations don't, literally 99% of the time, almost 100% of the time. And as we're doing this exercise, people are furiously looking up their company's homepage on what is their mission statement. So don't even bother. It's a waste of time and money. I encourage you instead to come up with your purpose statement for your team, and then your personal professional purpose statement. And again, a lady ahead of her time, here are the prompts for you. Before ChatGPT was popular, I'm going to give you there's prompts for this to complete this for yourself and your team. And they go something like this, and that might change over time. However, this is a good jumping off point. I exist to, and I do this by, and I know I'm successful when. As a team, you might say, we exist to, and we do this by, and we know we're successful when. That purpose statement, again, it serves as an anchor, because so many times we're gunning for revenue or we're gunning for a number and we're forgetting the purpose behind it and beneath it. Money and revenue is emotional, and everybody tells a story around it. So one of the teams that I work with, we created their purpose statement, their team purpose statement, and it would go something like this. We exist to serve our customers, and we do this by knowing our industry and how our products and service help our clients solve their problems. And we know we're successful when we overachieve our goals and our clients achieve their goals. It's kind of wordy, but again, serves as a jumping off point. So I encourage you, definitely have your purpose statement. It's so critically important, because I do this every day. If you have a team and they come to you and they go, man, I'm stuck, the best way to help people get unstuck and unblock and unlock ourselves is to take that step back and go, what is my purpose? Because a lot of times we get laser focused on a thing and we don't lift up to think about, how do I problem solve? And what am I problem solving? And a lot of times it's simply us needing to take a step back and ask more questions. And am I in tune with the purpose of helping to solve a problem? Or am I in tune with getting my statement of work signed and getting my invoice taken care of? So we want to make sure that we are in alignment with our purpose, because it changes our perspective and it helps us ask the right question, and it helps our motivation come from the right place, which is really, really important. Because without the right motivation, everything else goes out the window. The second piece that we really, really need to think about, that we need in creating sustainable revenue for ourselves and our businesses, is who are we serving? And I'm sure we've all heard that phrase. It's become really popular lately. Niches get riches. And it's really true at the end of the day. Because I don't know about you, let's think about this for a second. And here's the perspective. The world is very noisy. And everybody has a solution. Everybody's a coach. Everybody's an expert, which we all know is not true. According to the book, there's a great book called, I can't think of it right now, but I will. So in the book, Talent is Overrated. It takes 10,000 hours of doing one thing to be considered an expert. So I love it when people come and say, I'm an expert in whatever, and I look at their LinkedIn profile and they've been doing it for a year and it doesn't match. And so scientifically speaking, to get the deep expertise to be an expert in something, it's about a 10,000 hour journey, or about 10 years, give or take. And so with that and the noise in the marketplace right now, we can differentiate ourselves by following our niches get riches. Again, I don't know about you, but I got kids in school right now, high school and middle school. And again, that call, both good and bad, can come at any moment. Husband's in construction management. He's working in not a great part of town. He went to work the other day and there was a dead body on the corner. Calls can happen, good or bad. Our clients get pinged all day, every day. And I know right now, again, I don't know about you, 300 messages a day coming from every which way but loose. And the best way to rise above the noise that we are all experiencing right now is to focus on who you are serving and to be very specific around that. It will help. Basically, you want to be the headline your client wants to read. You want to be the person, your messaging should be exactly what your client, your ideal client goes, oh my gosh, that is the exact problem we have. And that is the challenge we need solved right now. Fantastic. And so what do we do with this? Again, it's helping us rise above the noise. You want to be that headline. And I'll give you an example. For me, with Revenue by Design, I have two examples because we have two facets to our business. I work with Gen X entrepreneurs through our groups and masterminds to help them gain clarity and overachieve their goals. Because I'm a Gen Xer, and so that's who I work with. We have groups for Gen Xers. We also have consulting, and we work on a project basis to help them overachieve their goals with our sales enablement. As a service offerings, we're bringing tried and true, proven programs that have been in place for over 10 years. We've adapted to changing market conditions that help you achieve your revenue goals. And we help you achieve greater valuation and results for your teams. And basically what we're creating is repeatable, scalable processes that everybody on their team could up-level into that drive value and revenue. It's a little bit wordy, but you get where I'm going with that. So my question for you on the second point of who are you serving is, what is your offer and what does that look like? If I were to ask you right now, what is your offer? Could you tell me in 25 words or less with super clear-cut clarity? I work with companies in this vertical, or I work with individuals who are this, And I do this by. Sometimes it feels weird because we feel like we need to add extra words, but we really don't. So I work with Gen X entrepreneurs, sub 5 million, to help them overachieve their goals and gain clarity to be super successful, period. End of story, mic drop, walk away. So if you are not at a point where you can, in 25 words or less, really nail that down, even just to yourself, like look in the mirror, practice it out, gain that clarity, and then go test drive it. I encourage you to do that today. It's going to be really helpful. So the first thing that we talked about, the first component we talked about was, what is your purpose? Do you have that purpose statement? I and my business exist to, and I do this by, and I know I'm successful when. Because that really ties down into our ICP, our ideal client profile, or who are we serving and why? And what challenge do they have that we're solving? What are we helping them with at the end of the day? And then the last thing that we really want to focus on, and there's so many more, but again, these are kind of the top three at the end of the day, is when we think about creating sustainable revenue for ourselves, the last thing that I encourage you to think about, and I lovingly call, is your day in the life. And this is, again, something that we always go through in all of our groups and all of our consulting engagements. And we really break it down to a fifth grade level, not because we're not smart enough to think more deeply than that, but again, from a ease of use perspective, that's how we want to think about it. And for those of us that are entrepreneurs, there's nothing as important as our prospecting. There's also nothing as important as our CEO Power Hour. So how do we manage those two competing priorities? Because I'm a believer in the laws of physics, unfortunately, and no two things can occupy the same space at the same time. So here's what that means, and here's how we solve for it. Every day, you're going to plan your day. And one of those sessions we have that we walk through is, again, a day in the life. It's about a 15-minute video. But with that is, we want to think about two key components when we are planning our quote unquote day in the life. We're going to anchor on two things right now. There's so many more, and we're going to give you some examples. But the two things we really want to think about, and I had to get good at too, and I'm just now ratcheting back into some of this, is as an executive, we plan our day in the life a quarter ahead of time. So that's what we really want to anchor on, is as an executive, some of my big rocks should be planned a quarter ahead of time. The events I'm speaking at, the goals that I want to achieve. Revenue is a lagging indicator. It's a result. So we want to think about, yes, I have revenue goals to achieve, but we also want two leading indicators for ourselves. So whether that's speaking engagements, whether that's an ebook you're going to publish, a white paper, some joint venture marketing events you're going to be working on, all of those things need to be anchored on your calendar a quarter ahead of time so that we can work our way into those things backward, if that makes sense. We want to think about it from a project perspective. So again, as an executive, that's what we want to be thinking about. We want to be thinking a quarter ahead of time. We want to be thinking about, all right, it's the start of whatever quarter it is. I need to be thinking my first week as a retrospective of the previous quarter. And then, of course, going forward, do I have the key components in place for myself to be successful? Do I have the key components in place for my team to be successful? Here's the thing too, that I want all of us to be thinking about, is there's a distinct difference between learning, reading, and problem solving. So as you are looking at your numbers, as an example, again, I encourage everybody to think in groups of three. The first time we look at something, we're simply looking at it and absorbing. Whether it's your numbers, you're creating a new marketing piece, it doesn't matter. Groups of three. I'm looking at it, I'm absorbing it, I'm ruminating on it, and you want to look at it, read it, and give yourself about 24 hours for it to marinate. Then you want to go back and look at it and say, is this, whatever it is I'm looking at, my numbers, my marketing piece, whatever, is it going to achieve what I want it to achieve? If it is, great. If not, you might want to tweak it. Then you want to give it another 24 hours. Then now on the third step, now you want to think about, how do I now operationalize whatever it is I was looking at, whether it's my numbers, my marketing plan, maybe I'm running a sales campaign, doesn't matter, end to end, what does that look like? The other component, when we think about day in the life and planning our time, we all only have 168 hours a week. And as an entrepreneur, it goes quick. It goes really quick. So the other thing that we really want to think about is, what does our infrastructure look like? We're talking about creating a sustainable revenue process for ourselves and a path, because we want to be focused on people. So the other thing, in addition to our CEO Power Hour that we need on our calendar, and that could be every day, that could be 3 times a week, that could be twice a week. It's really up to how many CEO Power Hours a week you have is based upon where you're at in your journey, your season, and your business. The other component that we really need to have on our calendar when we're thinking about day in the life is working on my infrastructure. And that means, do I have my templates in order? Do I have a sales process identified? We talked about, do I know what happens when a customer says yes? Because so many times we forget that. And our customer will say yes. And what we want to have in place is, here are the 3 things that you're going to see next. So I encourage you to think about your day in the life. What are your negotiables, non-negotiables that need to be on your calendar to be successful? We've covered off on 3 really key components today to creating your sustainable revenue process, for lack of a better term, so that as we have these things in place, we can focus on our people. We can have an unforced rhythm and less friction to move in our day. So the first is, use, memorialize, and internalize your purpose statement. The second thing that we really want to get clear on is, who are we serving and what problem are we solving for people? What need are we fulfilling? And the third is, get your day in the life squared away so you can focus on people, not process. Identify your negotiables and non-negotiables. Understand how you're going to identify success for those things, how you're going to measure success, and time. I don't know about you, but I've got to put time to things. Otherwise, time, it's like a fish. It'll grow to the size, and activity will grow to the amount of time you give it. So make sure things are time bound for yourself. These 3 components are only the beginning of creating your sustainable revenue process. But if you get these 3 correct, guarantee you the rest will flow. Your team, your clients, your prospects operate in this rhythm, and knowing your process and your infrastructure is running smoothly, allowing for stability. And now it's simply time to go. Thank you.
Thank you for participating in today's enlightening session. As we transition to our next expert, remember that each strategy and insight is a step toward becoming a transformative leader in your field. Visit connectedleadersacademy.com to stay engaged and informed. The journey of change is ongoing. Let's move forward together.